Welcome back to the Foundry by Forge College. Today, we're diving into the literal engineering blueprint of digital stability. We're going to look at exactly how we keep asset values securely anchored on-chain. I mean, if you've ever wondered how the historically chaotic, absolute roller coaster world of crypto manages to produce a perfectly flat, boring line on a price chart, you are definitely in the right place.
So let's just start with the really big question that honestly baffles almost everyone at first. How does one digital token actually stay equal to exactly $1? Spoiler alert, it is not magic, and it's certainly not just crossing our fingers and hoping for the best. Maintaining a peg is a lot like walking a physical tightrope in the middle of a windstorm. It requires a highly complex machine built with precision sensors, counterweights, and automated safety nets, all designed to prevent a catastrophic fall.
Just for a bit of context, in our previous explainer, we covered ERC 4337 and account abstraction. That gave us the how, right? The infrastructure of how we interact with smart wallets. But today, we're unpacking the what, the actual stabilized money moving through those accounts. And understanding this is absolutely crucial before you even start thinking about designing payment or real-world asset workflows on Solana.
All right, here's our technical roadmap for today so we don't get lost in the weeds. We're going to cover the anatomy of a peg, fiat-backed collateral reserves, the algorithmic stability engine, hybrid models and safety, developer integration and oracles, and finally, essential fallbacks and takeaways.
Okay, Section 1, Anatomy of a Peg, Balancing the Equation. Let's look at the fundamental forces that keep a stablecoin from just collapsing into absolute chaos. The official industry term here is peg maintenance. This encompasses all the operational strategies, the reserves, and the protocol rules used to keep a stablecoin near its target nominal value. Now, peg maintenance is a highly calibrated system. It's designed to detect price deviations the literal millisecond they happen and immediately pull the price back to its anchor. It's relentless, continuous work behind the scenes. Section 2, Fiat-backed collateral reserves, the custodian's vault. Let's move to our first engine type, which really leans heavily on traditional finance architecture. This model operates, well, just like a physical bank vault. For every digital token minted on Solana, there is a matching dollar or maybe a short-duration treasury bill sitting in a bank account. The primary stabilizing mechanism here is redemption. Think about it. If the token price drops to, say, 99 cents, arbitrageurs swoop in, buy the token, redeem it for a full dollar from the custodian, and pocket the difference. Boom, the peg is forced back up. But your biggest concerns here aren't really on-chain bugs. You're trusting a legal custodian, relying on third-party audits, and waiting for traditional bank clerks to finish their weekend golf game so they can finally wake up and process those redemptions.
Section 3. The algorithmic stability engine, smart contract steering. Now, what's really fascinating here is that this model throws out that traditional bank vault entirely in favor of pure code. Instead of dollars sitting in a bank, this system uses monetary policy rules programmed directly into smart contracts. It's wild. Step 1, an on-chain oracle detects a price swing. Step 2, the protocol automatically expands or contracts the token supply. And Step 3, the system essentially bribes the market. It offers liquidity incentives to arbitrageurs to buy or sell until that token is forced right back to a dollar. It's entirely automated, but it is heavily reliant on deep on-chain liquidity to actually work.
And this brilliantly illustrates the core trade-off developers face. On the left side, with fiat, you're trusting a bank not to lose your money or freeze your accounts. On the right side, with algorithmic models, you're trusting a smart contract not to break and trusting an oracle not to be manipulated. It is literally a choice between off-chain counterparty risk and on-chain protocol risk.
Section 4. Hybrid models and safety, best of both worlds. Since neither extreme is totally perfect, this third model attempts to stitch together the safety nets of both systems, just to avoid a single point of failure.
So hybrid models use a collateral reserve as the primary anchor, say a 70% buffer of really safe assets, but then they deploy an algorithmic layer for the remaining 30%. This is often called a seigniorage model, which automatically mints or burns secondary tokens to absorb volatility. You do trade off a bit of capital efficiency, sure, but in return you lower your immediate counterparty risk while maintaining a much stronger defense against those dreaded death spirals that purely algorithmic coins sometimes face.
Section 5. Developer integration and/or oracles, wiring the sensors. All right, for all the developers and system integrators tuning in, this is where the rubber meets the road. How do you actually, safely wire these diverse stablecoins into your Solana apps?
Listen, if you remember only one thing from this entire explainer, let it be this. Treating all stablecoins exactly the same in your code is a recipe for a very, very expensive disaster. Whether you're building a payments processor that needs tight fiat settlement or a DeFi protocol accepting collateral, your integration architecture has got to fundamentally adapt to the specific underlying stability engine of that token.
Let's look at a concrete Solana workflow. Say you're building an on-chain peg alert. Your code should definitely read a low-latency oracle like Pyth. But wait, you can't just blindly trust the feed. You've got to check the data's freshness, the publish time, to make sure it isn't stale. Then calculate the deviation from the peg. If it breaches your safety threshold, you should conservatively trigger a warning or a fail-closed state. Like, just suspend collateral acceptance rather than blindly executing automated, unrecoverable trades. So this cheat sheet perfectly maps out your integration strategy. If you're using a fiat-backed coin, your main monitoring focus is off-chain attestation freshness, and your action is disabling settlement if the bank is delayed. On the flip side, if you're using an algorithmic coin, your focus is on oracle deviation, and your action is suspending the asset if the peg sustains a break. It is just a completely different operational playbook.
Section 6. Essential fallbacks and takeaways. Planning for failure. Because let's face it, in the fast-moving world of Web3, you must always engineer for failure.
You need documented fallbacks for everything. Expect redemption delays from fiat rails and provision temporary on-chain liquidity buffers so your users can still get the refunds. Prepare for oracle outages by cross-referencing alternative feeds. And maybe most importantly, build manual dashboards so your team can actually pull the emergency brake when the automated bots just throw their hands in the air.
As we constantly emphasize in our learning programs over at Forge College, your integration has to continuously verify that the digital tokens moving on Solana actually match the physical reality off-chain. If your product relies on fiat-backed tokens, continuous reconciliation between on-chain liabilities and off-chain reserve attestations isn't optional. It is literally the core of your security model.
All right, to quickly summarize our engineering blueprint today, number 1, identify your trust anchors. Know exactly who holds the keys or what governance rules apply. Number 2, treat your oracle price feeds with a healthy dose of skepticism by always checking for staleness. And number 3, explicitly map out your fallbacks based on the specific peg model you're integrating. Always have a plan for when the peg bends.
To prepare for our next explainer, where we actually put all this into practice, go ahead and gather your price feed addresses, your expected transaction sizes, and your attestation schedules. We are going to be translating these theoretical mechanisms into concrete executable payment flows and mint/redemption APIs on Solana.
I want to leave you with this one provocative thought. If your primary oracle fails and a peg breaks today, exactly what does your smart contract do tomorrow? Leave this blueprint on your desk and think deeply about that. And hey, when you're ready to master the rest of this architecture and really elevate your Web3 skills, be sure to visit forge.college to learn more about this subject and explore our other applied learning resources. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer.